Hey guys, it's me, Cupid. I have schizophrenia. Today I wanted to kind of give a little bit more information about what I talked about yesterday. Kind of talk about ways that people were able to recover from schizophrenia fully without medication. I know I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I thought I'd give you guys some stories of people who actually were able to recover and how they did it. Some information from theirs. I'm not going to give you their whole story. I am going to give you some information from their stories, though. So let's get started. So this first one, schizophrenia is usually a chronic, devastating disorder that causes tremendous suffering. It can ruin lives. Even with the best treatments available, symptoms and suffering often continue. An article that two colleagues and I just published April 6, 2019 in the medical journal Schizophrenia Research describes two patients with long-standing schizophrenia who experienced complete remission of symptoms with the ketogenic diet, a well-established, evidence-based treatment for epilepsy. Of particular interest in our research, both patients were able to stop antipsychotic medications and have remained in remission for years now. Though more evidence is certainly needed, this is extraordinary, hopeful news for those with the disorder and for the mental health professionals treating them. So there's a lot of research that has been started, but it is still in the early stages that I have found so far. And I think it's because people have looked down on schizophrenia so much that it has become such a you have to be on medications or you had to be in a psych hospital for a long time. At one point in time, people were given a lobotomy for any mental health issue, but including schizophrenia. There were things that people did. They treated it like it was a disease that, I know people consider a disease, but it was almost like it was contagious if you weren't given medication. Like you couldn't live in society without being treated by medical professionals in that way. It's a scary disease to people, so it is hard to realize that it may be possible that people can live without medications with schizophrenia, because people are scared. They're scared that that is possible because what if something goes wrong, you know? So here's some more information that I found. Not only are the side effects of these drugs worse than we thought, the benefits are also smaller. Although people need to be taken off their drugs slowly and carefully to avoid a relapse, it looks as though the outcomes are better in the long run if medication is kept to a minimum. Now, there is growing interest in less damaging ways of helping people with the condition, including talking therapies and even forms of brain training. People are starting to think differently about schizophrenia, says Max Birchwood, a psychologist of the University of Warwick in the UK. So this guy, I don't think, oh damn it, I didn't get his name. It started with a B. He was able to go off of medication using talk therapies and different therapies. So they do talk a little bit more about the therapies that are usable for people with schizophrenia. So this is another form of therapy. It is not talk therapy, but it is a form of therapy. Sitting in another room, the therapist then had their speech digitally altered so they could be the voice of the avatar speaking to the patient through the computer monitor. We accompany the patient into their own private hell, says Julianne Leff, a psychiatrist at the Institute of Psychiatry in London who designed this approach. Over several sessions, the patient was encouraged to stand up to the avatar while the therapist made it become less aggressive in response. The approach helped 15 out of 16 people in the study who found that it reduced the frequency and intensity of the voices. 3 people even reported that they stopped hearing the voices altogether. So that's another form of therapy. I think it's a new therapy that not everyone offers, so you may not be able to get it from your doctor's office or your psychiatry department or whatever. But it is a virtual reality therapy, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's something to look into. So CBT, CBD, not CBD, CBT, uh, almost said it different 3 times. People say CBT can't possibly work. Schizophrenia is an intrinsic brain disorder, says Birchwood, who helped pioneer CBT. How can talking therapy change anything to do with the brain? Yet many studies have shown it to be useful. There are at least 2 possible explanations. For starters, people are more likely to descend into psychosis if they are stressed and unhappy. There is his name. Bolomer. That's the guy who did research and also himself was able to go off of medication using therapy. As Bolomer did. It's a very stress-sensitive disorder, says Birchwood. Many of the talking therapies help people cope better with everyday problems, such as family arguments, reducing the stress that could trigger a breakdown. Another benefit of talking therapies is that while unable to eliminate the voices and hallucinations, they do help people feel less disturbed by them. So there is multiple different types of talk therapies. CBT is one of them. One goal of CBT is to help people realize the voices don't have any power over them. That enables them to disengage from the voices. Rather than CBT, Peter Bolomer received help from informal group therapy that explored the psychological origins of his troubles. So here's another one. This is a different study that was done. Outside of my practice, I have come to know this group of diagnosed schizophrenics who have long-term recovery without medication. In his research, Harrow discovered them as well and states, for most schizophrenia patients not on medications or not in treatment, this was their choice, at times against professional advice. It is my experience that those who have rejected medication and recovered are virtually all anti-authoritarians who question the legitimacy of authorities and resist those authorities they assess to be illegitimate ones. So I had talked about this yesterday, and I know that people probably are like, no, don't say those kinds of things. But a lot of time, the reason why we believe that we cannot recover from this disorder is because we are told we cannot recover from this disorder. It gets ingrained in our brains, so we believe that it's impossible, that we have to be on medications. And when that happens, we give in to that idea, and then ourselves we cannot recover. But it has been proven in many studies that if you are not told that over and over again, if someone, if you don't believe in authority, if you don't listen to authority, or if you are told differently by someone else who is of a professional authority or whatever, then you are more likely to believe that you can recover, and it is more likely possible. So that's just something to take into consideration. So another possible thing that people can use, and this is something that someone else was able to use. Only one person in this study was able to use this, but it was only a study on one person, so that's probably why. There may be other studies out there, but this was the only one I was able to find. But learning coping mechanisms. So this person, I have trialed many antipsychotics, and the best result I have ever had was the slightest reduction in symptoms. I have had psychosis for a long time, long enough for me to learn healthy coping mechanisms. So she is safely able to go without medications, using coping mechanisms. So she still has issues, but that doesn't mean that she goes into a deep state because she has these coping mechanisms. So I found some other great information, and it is similar to the video that I did in Natural Ways to Treat Schizophrenia. There was some great information that I found on people who were able to go off medications using things like the ketogenic diet that I talked about earlier. Also vitamin treatment, and I think that they did more than just the vitamin treatment alone. They were eating healthy, and I know that that doesn't necessarily portray in every single thing, but doing vitamins like B9, B12, and B6 Vitamin C, E, and D are all things that you should put into your diet, whether it be food or it be a supplement. It is supposed to help. People with schizophrenia have been found to have lower levels of all of these. There's not necessarily any proof that it is the cause of schizophrenia. However, it does play a part. So it has been known to help people with schizophrenia. Fish oil supplements. Another thing that has been found is that so fish oil is a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids. These nutrients are known to reduce inflammation in your body. Inflammation may play a role in many mental illnesses, including schizophrenia. So that's one of the reasons why fish oil supplements should help. I'm not saying that it'll take it all away. You may have to try other things on top of fish oil supplements, but it is possible. Glycine. Glycine is a protein building block or an amino acid. It works with glutamine, which aids in brain function. So some studies have found that high doses of glycine may boost the efficiency of antipsychotic drugs used to treat schizophrenia. So it may also boost your antipsychotics. So if you're on antipsychotics, it may boost it. And diet management. So there's other diets that you can do other than ketogenic. Gluten-free has been known to be one of those diets. And I did research the other day for a project in school. And apparently low carbohydrates is another diet that is really good for schizophrenia. And that may be the similar reason to ketogenic and gluten-free, because low carbohydrates are something that you use in both of them. Obviously, in gluten-free, you don't have gluten, which is less carbohydrates. So yeah, so those are some of the things that I was able to find that have helped people to overcome or fully recover from schizophrenia. It may not be gone forever. Like I said, studies so far, they've only done like 10 and 20 year periods of time. So, maybe that's long enough, maybe it's not. We don't know yet. And some of them only were a couple of years. So it is possible, and maybe you can try it yourself. I definitely recommend, if you do, looking into multiple ways to treat. If you're going off your antipsychotics, don't just do one thing. Try multiple of the things that I told you about. Other than that, I think you guys have all the information you need to live a successful life with schizophrenia. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I hope you're having a great day right now. Stay beautiful, stay wonderful, stay amazing, stay awesome, stay unique, stay you, and above all else, you guys, love yourselves. Peace and love.